Kyle, imagine a world where we play video games in a tiny headset that you put on your face.
I can imagine that because it's
What,
the
have you
year
heard-
of VR.
You've heard of VR?
I've heard of VR.
Okay. I just played VR for the first time this weekend.
You did. It's
Yes.
it's driven me crazy that you steadfastly
It was
refuse
just like,
to try.
VR
it.
sucks and I'm not going to try it. I was just putting my
Yeah.
foot down. And Eve Valkyrie kind of changed my mind on that.
Right?
Yeah,
This was the first game that I played in VR too.
really.
I played it at a convention on
It's
a
gonna be the
Oculus
first.
DK2.
It's going to be the first game that a lot of people play, Kyle, because I have some exclusive news that I forgot to tell you. It is
Oh.
going to ship with the Oculus Rift.
Nice.
It's going to be a pack-in game.
That's
that news
awesome.
is embargoed, but it'll go up. When this video goes up, it won't be embargoed anymore.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of people are going. This is going to be their first VR experience, and I think it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty perfect for VR. You're sitting down, you're in a spaceship that you can look around and see all this really cool shit.
Yeah,
Pretty perfect. It's a good move.
it looks great. I think they have the control scheme nailed for this thing, and it also scratches the itch for like. Yeah, you're sitting down and looking around, and you can have that kind of slow-paced experience in some single-player missions. But then you've also got the fast-paced, like hyper-competitive, class-based. I don't know if you've played that when you played it, but this game was pretty intense. Dogfighting multiplayer.
No, mine was pretty straightforward. It may have, I think it was 1v1.
Okay.
Yeah, but there weren't like classes or anything.
Yeah,
So
we were
It's
playing.
been a year or so since I played.
Okay. Yeah, the game's probably come a long way since then, but this one, we were playing class-based. There's many different types of ships, a lot of different customization options. There's healing ships, support ships, heavy ships, assault crafts and stuff like that. It was really, really fast-paced, and sitting down for the first time with it, this is the first time I'd ever put a VR headset on. I got motion sick for like the first 30 seconds, and then I was like in it.
Yeah, you kind of adjusted.
Yeah, it was like after that initial motion sickness, like I was good for the rest of the weekend, which was pretty necessary for being at the PlayStation experience. And there was a lot of VR there, other stuff other than Eve Valkyrie, and we're not going to get into that stuff right now. But as far as Eve Valkyrie goes, I played it on the Oculus, and I also played it on the PlayStation VR. So
Really? So you got to get a good comparison of the two then.
I did, yeah. I can't say. I think the Oculus was better quality.
It's got to be better quality. I mean, I'm amazed that the PS4 can even put out VR.
There's a
The
box.
frame rate has to be so high.
Didn't you see? Did you see the picture of like the box that goes with the headset?
No.
Yeah, there's like a box. I don't know if that thing's got processing power in there or what. But
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a box that goes with the PlayStation VR. I mean, that thing was pretty close to like ready. So was the Oculus. Like we saw like shipping boxes, like what it's going to come in. These things are ready to go.
Yeah.
And like Eve was a finished game or almost finished that seemed like it could be in store shelves or on store shelves like tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, they've had to wait a while for VR to actually come out. I mean, this was probably one of the first big VR games that got announced. So they've had a good amount of time to fine tune this thing, and it looks really good. I mean, it looked good when I saw it a long time ago, and they've improved it a ton since then.
So when you played it, how was the control scheme? Were you just using the controller, or were you also doing like the head tracking, aim, look to aim stuff?
There was head tracking. I could look around. I don't know that it was used for aiming, though.
Yeah,
That's
now you can use it. You can use the controller to line yourself up, but you can also like look where you want to go. You look there, and your chip kind of changes direction. So it's an interesting Interesting control scheme that they probably had to do, specifically for VR. I mean, I don't know any other. It kind of reminded me of some of those early Kinect games, but on a way better than that, right? It doesn't necessarily feel like it's on rails. It's super fluid. Like chasing somebody in a dogfight like that now is okay. I see him. I'm looking left to stay with him, right? You're
And how
immediately
many
looking.
times did it take you? How many times did it take you to figure that out? And I kept slowly turning my ship with the thumbstick, and then eventually somebody was like, "You can just look."
Yeah,
and
here's
I was
what.
like, "Oh wow, yeah, I forgot."
Yeah, the first couple games we played in the preview session, it took me a little bit. But then I went to the PlayStation Experience and I was playing with people who hadn't played it before, and I was like, I destroyed them. There was a crowd of even employees. Like, look how good this person is. They didn't know I had, had tons of experience or some experience playing the game. But yeah,
Nice.
and it was one of those games where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna just stomp on people. Multiplayer, competitive action. It was fun. I had a good time playing this game. I don't know what it's going to be like when it gets out into the wild and people start getting really good at it. But there seems to be a ton of not only like, oh wait, this game works, but like a lot of game stuff in there, like ship customization, unlockables, levels to earn, stuff like that, and.
So it's not just
I think
a tech
that's
demo.
it is not just a tech demo. Yeah, the stuff that we saw was like this is finished and like fully realized. So in like for a multiplayer game, every multiplayer game has that stuff now, right? You've got your XP levels, your unlockables, your skins, and all that stuff, and this one seemed to have all that. And the class-based elements were kind of neat. Some of the ships were hard to wrap your head around. Like, what are they doing? And they move at different paces. Some are faster than others. Some have like hyperdrive and stuff like that to get away from enemies, or warp drive actually. So
Yeah.
there's definitely some class-based stuff to it. Some different types of ships to kind of master, and I played probably a grand total of 45 minutes, but if I usually like to think like stuff like this that hooks you that quickly is going to have like a similar effect on a lot of people. And this was like a very good demo for me to get my feet wet with VR, and not only say like, oh well, maybe VR is okay. This is actually kind of fun and well made. So it's probably a perfect fit for this game to launch with the Rift.
Yeah, it's a great combo. I'm wondering, like, so it's going to work on the Rift and the PlayStation VR. I'm wondering now if it's also going to work on the Vive. But I guess we'll find out whenever these things start coming out. I know we don't have any official release date on VR headsets aside from the Vive. I think is in April. I would assume the Rift is coming out around the same time.
It's got to. They couldn't give me a concrete. I pushed for, do you know when this is coming out? No. There is no release date on this thing. But they're like, it's coming out next year no matter what. That's where our money is, This thing has to come out next year is basically the impression that I got. And I think that's pretty much common knowledge at this point. We're all just waiting for that. Like, you can have this on X day. And I just don't think they've said that yet. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they'll announce something at CES.
Yeah,
Along
and
those
I think
lines.
that they have some individual shows coming up, so they may announce something then. We'll see. We need a release date and a price, but I know I'm already sold. I'm going to get a VR headset just from playing. I think I was sold when I played Eve, but then I played a couple of more games after that, and I was good to go. I'm gonna get a VR headset. Which one? That's another question.
I'm
But-
probably getting all of them. I'm definitely getting one for the PlayStation. That thing was awesome.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
See, I'm surprised. I haven't tried that one, and I felt like that one would be
It's
a
good.
lot worse.
All right,
still good.
let's just get into it. Okay,
All right.
I played Drive Club in VR.
Yep.
That was fucking awesome. It wasn't like a fully, that was a tech demo. Like that was something like they were working on the side, and that's probably not coming out is what they said. But it might. Who knows? But that was fucking awesome. I have not played a racing game has been that immersive. It was incredible. I was playing with a force feedback steering wheel. It was great. Like if you
on. They stacked the deck a little bit.
They did stack the deck, but you start seeing the possibilities, right? You start seeing the possibilities of like, what if they made a special stick for like a game like this, you know, where it's like you're just fully immersed in it. And there's just a lot of possibilities, right? And I think that VR's what we see in the first couple of years of VR is going to be totally different than what we see 5 years from now if this technology kind of catches on. Now, I am still worried, like, about shutting out the outside world. But seeing games like Drive Club, where it's, you know, something that you could still be online and playing with friends, but racing in that sort of environment, in that sort of enveloped situation, it makes it so immersive that if they could somehow bring some like traditional games to VR like that just include maybe just some minor things like the head tracking, being able to look left or right, and using the controller in traditional ways, like I would totally be on board to play, you know, the multiplayer shooters that I like to play, or the adventure games, or the first person stuff, in that sort of immersing environment. Because the first video game that I played after I took off the VR helmet, I was like, you have this moment, or I did, where I was like, ooh, this is not nearly as good.
This bores me now.
Yeah, wait, I don't like this as much anymore. Not to the point where I'm like, well, I hate regular video games now. Not at all. But I did have a moment where I was like, oh, I can kind of see the screen and stuff. I don't like that. It was interesting. But then I kind of fell right back into it and played some other games. But it was telling that the technology kind of was that good and felt that polished. At least.
Yeah.
At least for Eve. I played also like that office simulator, or job simulator.
That looks great.
Yeah.
It's literally just you're like doing an office job.
It's just
right?
do crazy shit. The game. It's almost like a virtual reality game built for YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I'm gonna do some stupid shit.
Goat Simulator or something.
Yeah, but people were doing all sorts of crazy shit. It was as fun to watch as it was to play, actually. But only because it's like there's so many layers of stuff in that game that it was just kind of like looking into that person's mind. Like, well, what are they going to do with this? Oh, wait, you could do that? That's crazy. So there was a lot of different stuff. But obviously this video is not about Job Simulator. It is about Eve. And Eve's a lot of fun. I played a couple of different mission types. We played this dogfighting mode. There's also an objective type mode. I think this part of the video is showing that, where you have like 3 objectives. It's kind of like domination, and you're planting. Okay. You're planting like beacons around the map. There's definitely some different types of multiplayer modes in here. There's also like a single player portion of the game where
is it a full campaign, or
I didn't get 100% details on like how deep that campaign is. I'm guessing it's gotta be have some substance to it, because there was some story ties. But this game isn't tied to Eve Online. Like the online aspects of it aren't. I don't think they're getting that ambitious with it. So it's
just kind of set in the same universe.
Yeah, right. But it's not going to have any effect on like the economy of that game or anything. Like they've tried to do stuff like that before. on the PlayStation.
Oh yeah, there was that PS4 game.
Yeah, it was PS3 maybe.
PS3.
I think so.
I don't remember it now.
Yeah, so I mean, I really, really enjoyed this game. The time I spent with it, and I know we keep saying the same. That it's a good fit for the Oculus Rift and to launch with it, but like saying that now, it just kind of makes a lot of sense. And I'm going to be looking forward to it. And I think that a lot of people are going to be happy to get a game of this quality, and not just like a tech demo with the headset.
Yeah, it'll make it feel not only feel more worth your money, because I'm guessing it's going to be in the 350 to 400 range, but you'll have something right away that you can jump into and understand why you bought this thing and what the possibilities will be for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those possibilities are pretty crazy now, Kyle. I am on board.
You're on the
with
hype
this.
train.
I am hyped about VR now. I really wasn't hyped about it. I mean, and this is documented that I have not been excited about like putting a headset on my head and just kind of closing myself off for the world. But there was something so immersing about this game that being able to just look down and see, I mean, this video doesn't even do it justice. And that's the problem that they're going to run into with virtual reality in general, right? It's like you can't capture that feeling of looking up and seeing the top of your spaceship, right? Or looking left and behind you and seeing like the dock and like the ship bar or whatever the fuck is back there, Yeah. You can't really describe what it feels like to look down at your character and look at your arms, the arms of another character, of a video game character, and kind of get that connection where you want to almost look up at you want to raise your hand and look at it and look at, like as if it was your own. Obviously, that didn't happen as you're using a controller, and you would need some other, peripheral to do something like that. But it's hard to explain that feeling. I think that's the thing they're going to run into. But when you do it for the first time and you look down, the level of immersion is crazy. When you look down and you see your boobs, you're a guy. You're like, holy shit. This is.
You texted me that.
I
You're
know.
so excited.
I was like, Kyle, I have boobs.
I have big boobs.
I have big boobs. They weren't huge, but they were bigger than my normal boobs. So I was like, no, but yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff where you look down, you're like, Jesus Christ, like this is so crazy.
It's going to rely on like the first people that buy it getting their friends over and being like, you got to try this. Because I mean, they can't really set this up in a Walmart or a Best Buy and get people to play it, because first of all, they'll get pink eye, and second, it'll get broken. So yeah, I think the first core group that buy this thing are going to be the ones that sell it to the masses.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to think that Facebook is relying on word of mouth, but I mean, that is true.
There's just no other way. Like you said, you have to try it.
In the day, I think there's going to be a lot of people on YouTube and stuff that get crazy with it, honestly. They're going to have like videos of themselves while they're doing it and gameplay footage, and I think that'll help it too, this era that we live in with people and evangelizing stuff on YouTube I think that stuff's pretty strong. And I think we're going to see a lot of that as this thing gets closer to release, whether that be from Oculus spreading around some money and giving it to people for talking about the game, or not. Who knows? But I think that's going to be a big way to do it. It's just going to be like, who can describe the feeling of virtual reality the best? Because, like you said, it's hard to explain unless you put the thing on your head. And it's just something that clicks in your brain that kind of like, whoa, this is way different and way better than I expected. and which
Yep.
was
Now they
certainly the case.
Now they just need to get it out there so we can buy it and play it.
Yeah.
Please, Oculus.
I think we're going to run into some interesting problems, like especially for us as we like are critics of games. Like, what is a good VR game, and what are good mechanics for VR, and is a bad VR game one that makes you sick, and does that make everybody sick, or you know what I'm saying? And it's going to be hard to kind of chase down a lot of that stuff. It's going to be a crazy new video game world if this stuff gets adopted in mass. And if it doesn't, you could see these headsets, being like the PlayStation Move or the Kinect in 3 or 4 years. You just never know.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's either like there's VR only games, and then there's games that include some VR elements, and then how do you judge that, and especially the motion sickness, because I don't get motion sick, but some people do. So what if it does get people sick? That I don't know what you would do with that, and
I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all sort of thing, though. You just don't know what's going to make some people disoriented, what's not. Like, in this game, there were certain things where, like, certain movements and combinations of movements would kind of give me a little bit of, like, whoa, hold on. Let me get my bearings. I feel like I'm upside down. Even though I'm sitting.
And I mean, really, that's a good thing. If you ask most VR fans, they'd be like, that's immersive, that's really, really cool that you get dizzy in space. And there's going to be a whole different way of designing these games. Like you see in here, the cracking of the windshield, that's like a very important element to this game, if you ask me. Like, that puts you more into the game. So these kind of gameplay elements are going to become even more important, these small touches.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that stuff really just adds to the overall experience. Not just like they get so many of those small things right in this game, like that dying animation where your whole ship freezes because you've been blown up in space. Yeah, it's and the stuff where you're looking over your shoulders and looking around, is just so spot on. You can't. Once you get in there and once you get immersed in there, you kind of forget about everything else. And once you get the headset on and all that, it's just, it gets pretty engrossing. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for EVE Online. Kyle, that was
Eve Valkyrie.
Oh shit, yeah, EVE Valkyrie. I think that's going to be it for EVE Valkyrie. We'll weigh in on it when this virtual reality technology is actually finally here. But what we saw was good so far, and it seems like it is getting pretty goddamn close to being in our hands for real. I think if the only thing that I would take away from this game and be like, well, I wasn't so sure about it, was how many times can I play this? Can I play this 150 times? Can I play this for 25 hours? Can I play this like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield or something like that? And, I don't know yet if it has enough legs, but I think it kind of boils down into like the progression system and some of that stuff that you can't really get a sense for until you actually play the game for an extended period of time. But what we played was fun. The virtual reality stuff was great. And that was EVE Valkyrie. Any last thoughts, Kyle?
No. I think you covered it. That's a good ender. There.
All right. We'll end it there. For Kyle, I'm William. For attackofthefanboy.com, you can check out our written preview for EVE Valkyrie on our website. Thanks for watching.